age, I never chased a boy or called a boy or sat in a parked car with a boy.
Well, Margie, I'm almost 18 years old. It's not like I've never parked before.
Well,
Safe and sound now, back in good old 1955.
back on the good old 27th floor. We're safe and sound here now at the McFly Fund.
Great Scott.
Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Unbelievable.
I gotta check this out, Doc. I'm from the future.
You know this gentleman as all of those bad tannin boys. He is Grumpy, he is Buffy, he is Buford. Make some noise for Mr. Tom Wilson! And keep it going, keep it going. Of course, you know where Aslan Rain, Baines, McFly, make some noise for Miss Leah Thompson! He is the inventor of the flux capacitor, Dr. Emmett Brown himself, Christopher Lloyd! And our hero, the one, the only, Marty, don't call him chicken or yellow, McFly, Michael J. Hey guys, welcome to Boston.
Yeah. Damn you.
Great Scott indeed. We got the whole team here. It's amazing. Well, okay, wait. When was the last time that you saw everybody?
I saw these guys last year, but I haven't seen Tom in forever. Since you had Trump elected president.
Tom's mic's not on, but
Is this,
Okay.
Oh, I actually thought about it, did the math, and I haven't seen Michael for 28 years.
Wow. You look great.
You look great yourself. Still hot as ever.
You're bigger and I'm smaller.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, obviously we are all fans here. We, you know, it's 33 years on with this film and with this franchise. It's kind of, you guys are very much like within movie history. It's like you're part of a sort of a fairly small fraternity as far as movies that have this kind of legacy, this kind of fan base, obviously immensely successful. But when did it set in that this thing really had a legacy that was going to carry on across generations. Mike, you want to begin?
Well, I don't know about legacy across generation. I mean, it was great when I saw that. I thought it was so specific time-wise that it would only fit certain generation. But it goes across people that the 50s are a lot further back than they were for us. These things are hard to relate to. But the thing I noticed about the movie is it's like other movies, for me, like Pulp Fiction or Godfather or Chinatown. You turn the channel and they come on and you just don't change the channel anymore. Back to the Future is like that. You're like, I change the channels and I see Chris and I go, shit, I want to watch this.
Do you guys want to weigh in? Like, sort of when you noticed that legacy setting in, that was, I mean, I would say that it's across generations. Like, how many of you guys out there have younger sibling, a child, maybe a grandchild that, like, you're raising on this movie? A couple of people, yeah.
It's such an amazing thing that that this movie is like, it just keeps getting more legs. Like, it just keeps, people keep introducing it to their children and then their children's children, because it's got such an amazing message, like, that you should hit on your son.
But it's amazing to have a weekend like this one. So very many children under 6 dressed as Marty McFly. It's wonderful.
And they're the same size as me. It's nice. There's one size fits all.
Yeah, they just got the clothes from the studio. Worked out great.
Yeah, and good point, because without Lorraine hitting on her future son, we would never have the Game of Thrones, so...
I know. They should put me in it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I can talk in an accent, for sure.
Well, back to your question, Aaron, was when did you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think it occurs to you that's a classic for all time, but I mean, I remember the screening that happened in Hollywood for industry and everything, and people are usually a little relaxed, tepid in their response to things, and the applause the movie got just said, wait a minute, this is something different. Because people from the very beginning, they just loved the movie. I mean, people went crazy.
Bob Zemeckis had a thing in his wall. He had two things. He had a script page from Jewel of the Nile.
I remember.
What was the first one?
Yeah, Jewel of the Nile, yeah.
And the first one was with Michael Douglas. And,
Romancing the Stone, pardon.
Romancing the Stone. And he shot it at night in the jungle in the rain. And he had a thing on his thing that said, exterior night, jungle, rain. He said, if I ever see that in the script, I'm not doing it. But he also had to think of a page from the focus group they did from that first screening. And there was some kid from Tarzana who wrote, Back to the Future is the most fucking godly movie I've ever seen. And then he saw that and he knew he had to do it.
The Channel 7, the local TV station in Los Angeles, Gary Franklin, he gave it 7 out of 10 stars. The outrage of the audience in letters were so great that he had to go back on the air and kind of said, okay, I watched it again. I'll give it another star. But people immediately both loved the movie and were defensive about the movie. They were saying, this is a classic for all time. So it was quite a thing.
Well, I mean, Chris, from your perspective, obviously having such an amazing resume and being involved in so many franchises even, what would
I would never have been done were it not for this film. It was, it was kind of gave me a career, so to speak.
Jim was pretty good. Jim on Taxi was pretty great.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing work.
Did you, as an actor with already a long resume, when you saw the script, did you already see the magic on the page when you were first looking at this script?
I did get that right off the bat. In fact, I declined, and I won't tell that story right now, but I sort of came to my senses, and it worked out.
What is it about 2018 that it seems like every week I'm seeing some other rumor about Back to the Future. And I mean, I know it's been debunked many, many times. There's not going to be a Back to the Future 4, but what is it about 2018 that just keeps the chatter going and keeps people like putting more word out there about Back to the Future? Because the conversation doesn't stop.
Basically, I think America's saying, come on, they've wrecked every other franchise with bad sequels. Why not this one? Come on, we want to watch it until it sucks.
We want more until there shouldn't be more. There already shouldn't be more. But
Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale. Bob Gale is especially a really great gatekeeper of the franchise, and like people ask me to do an event associated with Back to the Future or an ad or something, and it always goes through him. I call him up and I say, "What do you think, Bob?" And they say, "Don't do it, whatever." But they really are vigilant about it. They really know it's something special, and they don't want to. I mean, how can you overexpose it? It's already exposed, but they're really careful with it.
yeah.
And it protects all of us. I mean, it's great. The more they protect the franchise, the more it protects all of us and our relationship with the movie.
Although I see a lot of hoverboards out there, I think we're all we could do without Back to the Future 4, but we're all pretty much upset that there are no hoverboards and no flying cars. Would any of you actually drive a flying car if given to you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Like in LA, you would drive a flying car?
Sure. Why not? I'm a game girl. I flew a Piper Cherokee, a Cessna, out of Van Nuys, so I would do that. And I'm so impressed with all these people in these vests. It's 100 degrees and everybody's wearing the vest.
I lose 5 pounds a day wearing that thing. It was so hot. It was so, and they had a silly Velcro Mylar cap on. It was. I hated the wardrobe for 2. It looked great, but it was terrible to wear. But I had previous experience with Teen Wolf and having hair glued on my face. So I used to discomfort.
Leah, you mentioned actually earlier the takeaway of this movie, the great message. Aside from don't hook up with your son in the past, very specific situation that most of us won't encounter. But what do you, kind of talk about the message. What is the takeaway for you? What is the message of this film?
Well, I don't know. I think we all have different opinions about that, but I always thought that this movie was so powerful to show to your children because it's the idea that if you do the right thing, if you have the courage, if you stand up for yourself at the right moment of your life, you can change not only your future, but your children's future. And I think that's really important message, And I don't know, I've always found that to be a really deep part of the movie. And what's so great about this movie for me is that I'm a director now, so I've watched it with different eyes as I grew as an artist, and there's so many different levels that people can appreciate this movie. The young boys can appreciate the amazing stunts and the amazing fun things that Michael did with the skateboard and the way he tripped and fell over and spit and he just was such a great comedian. And then you can each level you can appreciate the movie on a different one. If you're a mother or a grandma or a father, you can appreciate this movie from different perspectives.
I know a lot of often people come up to me and say that they chose to be an engineer or a surgeon or an architect, something having to do with the sciences, inspired by watching this film from when they were, toddlers nearly. This film inspired them, gave them a clue what they wanted to do with their own lives, which is pretty great.
And so many have come to me, and it's inspiring that they were inspired to become mafia thugs because of my performance. And that's a beautiful thing that movies can do. To ignite a spark in a child, to become a hitman of some, juice man for the mob. You don't know.
I mean, actually, Tom, like it's a relevant question. Like, was there ever any potential for redemption for Biff? Like, was there ever a chance, like, where this guy could have, like?
Well, I'll tell you something. The power of love is a curious thing. Makes a one man weep, makes another man sing. Change your heart to a little white dove. More than a feeling, it's the. Go take money.
I know. Don't sing any more of that.
Don't need no credit card to ride that train. I don't forget the rest of the words, or this place would go off. I don't know if there are. I mean, there are redemption for people like that, maybe in another movie. But since I was I was bullied a lot. I was a small kid. I had asthma. I missed a lot of school. I was beaten up by bullies all through school. And then later, when I was a junior, senior in high school, I just grew to be big. But I was the arts kid. I played the tuba in the band. I was on the debating team. So I wanted to point that out. That it's wrong to bully people, and that they should lose, and that there's nothing redeeming about it. You know, in acting school, the acting teachers will say, you have to find yourself in the character. You have to find what's human about them. And honestly, with my experience, I could not, because there was nothing human about it and nothing redeeming about it. It's a bad person that needs to be punched in the face. And it happens in the movie. And, you know, that's the big. My mom sees the movie. And my mom, like your mom, expected me to play a handsome prince in the movies. Expected me to sing the lovely song to the young lady, or be wearing a tuxedo like Clark Gable, and I end up in this movie where I'm a horrible person. And I get punched by George McFly. I spin and fall on the ground, and my mom was, yes, good. So, you know, so he's unconscious, and that's good.
Yeah.
And he ends up to be a simpering, you know, you do books here, Mr. You know, that thing.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, Mike, did they talk to you? Because Marty obviously has some anger management issues. Like, there's some rage underneath the surface there.
He didn't like to be called poultry.
Yeah. Well, where did that come from? Did Bob Gale talk about, like, was he called chicken a lot? Like, where did that kind of anger come from in that character?
I don't know where it originated, but Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale have such amazing minds. Like, to be on the set with them, especially Bob, because he's the director. Like, you'll get into some situation and it'll be some things not working, some computers not working. That makes this work, that makes that fall down, that makes this jump up, that makes this fly away, and it won't work. And you know that it's like 2 a.m. and you figure they're gonna call it, and we'll go home and he'll figure this out and we'll come back tomorrow and get it. No way, he'll sit there and he'll work on that until he gets it. And then it's usually better than it was in the first place. And it's the same way with the elements of the characters. And I mean, they so. Remind me of your question again.
Well, it was just like, you know, Marty does have like that anger.
Oh yeah. So they put this thing in me where they needed a hook and they got this chicken thing, and it was so funny. We started to have like when I was talking to Needles, talking to Flea on the screen, and I said, "Don't call me Chicken Needles," and then it became Chicken Needles, and it just they just walk into an idea, and even if it's dumb, it becomes brilliant over time because it just gets infused with everything else.
Yeah.
So the chicken thing, which made no sense to me at first, I loved when I saw the movie. I got it. I got this. This guy just didn't like to be. Marty has a relationship. His best friend is a 50-year-old scientist. I mean, Marty. Something's up with Marty. Some strange Marty in the first place. So I mean.
I think like me personally not being like a big kid like and facing off against bullies or whatever, like the takeaway from that story is that it's not going to get you anywhere to like give into that anger, that you're actually by outsmarting and by pulling back from the anger, like that's going to make you the hero of the story or put you ahead.
I could really relate to that. When I started asked me to do the film, they said my agent said it's a skateboarding, guitar playing teenager who loves girls, and I said, okay, good, I'm in. But what it really got after a while was that thing about bullying, about being a small guy that nobody understands and hooking up with this genius guy who nobody understands, and just getting through a lot of really tough stuff.
Yeah.
And realizing when there are things you need to do that are important, that have value, you have to do them at whatever cost. You have to commit yourself to it totally, and then that's what he did.
Yeah. And Chris, when you're when you're approaching Emmett Brown, in your head, what were you seeing was the reason why Doc Brown would want to hang out with a kid who doesn't seem like he's particularly good at science? He doesn't seem like, he's like, what was, when you're creating that character, what was the appeal of hanging out with this kid?
I thought it was the other way around, that the kid's hanging out with me. But either way, Marty seemed interested in what I was doing. A little bit, he'd see me around the village doing this, that, and kind of started hanging around. And he was useful to me because I could assign him different errands and do this and do that. So we sort of became dependent on each other in a certain sense. And,
Got to get an audience.
Yeah. And then we were a team,
Well, and there's something special about this guy that it doesn't necessarily seem like George McFly is necessarily being the most active father figure. So you have this mentor character that sees promise in Marty. Was that?
Yeah, and also he wanted to know the things, why I did and how I did the things I did. He had a real curiosity and interest in it, so that very flattering.
There's a trust there.
Yeah.
Marty trusted him, and Doc trusted Marty.
And with the character of Lorraine, she really pops off the screen. Like, she is energetic. Like, was that all on the script for you, or was there ever any kind of like a little bit of pushback with the Bobs, or like, no, she wouldn't say this, or this is what a real young woman of that age might be like?
Well, it was a great story, and we were all trying to be of service for the story and kind of create what I like about the movie so much is that we all had kind of different styles of comedy from the way I look at it now. We were all doing kind of different styles. Crispin was doing this weird commedia dell'arte thing with like, and these like weird gestures. And I was doing this kind of classic sex pot from, and it wasn't like something that came naturally to me. I was creating.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, darling. Big guy. And we were in service of the story, and I was trying to create this person that you could believe could fall in and out of love with her son in like 1 second, And that was really it. And I was always so interested. Do you remember when we were shooting the scene where I kissed you in the car? And they were all so nervous that we could pull off this moment where I would be like, it's like kissing my brother. Like when I could just fall right out of love with him. So I was always I loved the characters so much because they had so much riding on the acting. Not just the words, but our acting. And I think that, just like they were talking about their relationship, it didn't matter. You really didn't need to explain it. It was one of those things that you just, because of their camaraderie, because of their acting, you fell for it right away. And you didn't need to explain it. And one of the beautiful things about the script. And we all worked really hard. We all worked very hard.
I think it's a part of its great success is if you look at the performances individually, everyone was making unusual choices. Everyone was doing a thing that was not vanilla. That was a real character. It just so happened with an excellent script and all these performances, they just interlock together perfectly, and that's what, in my opinion, makes for a classic for all time. I mean, if you look at the things that I'm doing, and look at the thing, as Leah said, look at the things that Crispin was doing, like opposite me in those bullying scenes. If you look at it individually, it's crazy.
Big performance.
But then you look at it all together, it's like, oh my gosh, it's not crazy, it's perfect.
And I remember, Michael, you would work on those little moments when you kicked up when you slide across the car. You would work on them for a long time. It was precision. It was comedy precision.
Watch the movie. It's like a Buster Keaton movie in
It's
physical. It
unbelievable.
really is. He goes across the hood of the car fast, and just with one hand catches the opposite side of the car, and it's like he's in the car, and it started. It's just brilliant.
It was
Physical
incredible.
comedy.
You know how you do that stuff? Is like people ask me about doing stunts and stuff, and I say, you just do it. Like I can't. Like me walking down the street, I can't bowl, for example. But I did a movie about bowling, and I learned how to bowl, and I had to play a bowler, so I bowled, and I could make it spin and curve and do all that stuff. 2 weeks after the movie was over, I went bowling, and I just threw in the gutter every time. It didn't stay with me, but I can act it. I can act like I can do it. So when I do those things, I would just be thinking about Mission Impossible, the TV show, not the movies. When I was a kid, Mission Impossible, Mannix, or any of those, or Starsky and Hutch. And I just try to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But I used to, when I was a kid, my mom would send me to the store to get eggs or something, and the trip across the parking lot would be like a movie. It'd be like da 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 da. Making my way around the security guard at the mall. So it was a great opportunity for me to just throw everything into the pot. And the other thing that I think about with the movies is you all know I was not the first actor to play Marty McFly, so I came on 5 weeks after the film had started, and they just threw me into it. And I was talking. Like Wednesday, I was not doing a movie. By Monday, I was in a parking lot in Pacoima with flames running between my legs. And I was just in it. And here we go. And I was doing Back to the Future, Family Ties in the daytime and Back to the Future at night. And my life was just a blur. And I was doing all this, working with these amazing actors. And I remember waiting backstage to go on do a scene for Family Ties. And just as my cue was coming up, I freaked out because I couldn't find my video camera. And then I realized I don't have video camera in this. Video camera is the other thing. And so when the movie came out, it shocked me because I didn't know. I had no idea what it was going to be because I had no chance to live with it before we did it, to understand what we were going to do, and I had no time to live with it after we did it. And I went to London to do a film, and it just happened overnight. It was like bang.
Well, and Tom, to your point, like, you say everybody's sort of doing different things, and it all kind of clicked together. This amazing combination, and then you have to do it again. Come back for a sequel, and everybody has to like click together in that same way again. Was there ever any anxiety when you're coming back for part 2, as far as like, oh, can we pull this unique combination off again? I would like to hear from all of you on that.
I was pretty tense about it because I was doing a lot of different, now it was exploding. Different ages, different characters, a gunslinger in the West, Griff, his own grandson, different, a paradox,
right.
this, all that stuff. So I was really freaked out. So I was watching the first movie to see what I did. I went to all kinds of things. I went to different colored highlighters so that I would know kind of color code, all the different biffs and various things. So I was sort of trying to keep up.
You killed it. You killed it, man. You nailed every one of them.
You did kill it. You did.
So, but all you have, but you're doing different things I could do with my jaw. Mad Dog just has, he just like hangs his jaw down. All the different ones just have different griff with just movements. I just had these weird, movements that he would have, and they said, oh, he, during an operation, they put in implants and something like, just something different, because you're one person with one set of vocal cords. So Mad Dog had to be like this, and Old Biff had to be like this, and Young Biff was still up here, so you're just kind of gradations of all the different. Yeah, hey McFly, hey McFly, hey McFly.
That's now somebody's like ringtone. That exists now. Yeah. Cool. How about you? Like when you're approaching this.
Too. I think I was excited because I love the idea of playing all these different characters, and I still on my reel I still have Lorraine McFly from Back to the Future 2 because no one will let me play that part, like that drunk diva broad, and so I still have her. You were the one who wanted me to have these things. No one will let me play that part. They still think I'm cute. I think I was really excited to get the team back together because it was so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, you kind of take for granted, but this movie Back to the Future was #1 for the entire summer except for 1 week.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen anymore. And it was quite a spectacular ride. So I was excited, but I was sad that Crispin wasn't in the movie because it was hard for, it was hard to be Lorraine without George.
I credit, and if we can, just credit Crispin a lot. It was an absolutely, utter, brilliant performance. Brilliant. Unbelievable. I auditioned with him first when they pair people up, and they say, Tom, why don't you go off with Crispin, and Bob go off with Ted, and we went off to behind a hedge at Universal, and we do the scene together. Hey, McFly, you finished my homework? And he turned into, well, Biff, I just, and immediately I thought, well, I probably won't get this because it's a big movie, but if they don't hire him, they're out of their minds because he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I wasn't in movies. I was hoping I'd get cast as one of Biff's gang members because, I was on a very special Knight Rider. I was in the Kentucky Fried Chicken biscuit commercial. So, I'd introduced biscuits, so you're welcome.
Were you scared to do Back to the Future too?
I was like dreading the first night I was called back because they were going to reshoot part of the end of the first one when you go off. Yeah. And I go, screaming and yelling along the street in glee. And I thought I just never would get back there again because they were reshooting that the first night. Yeah. And they were doing the scene where I'm up on a ladder doing stuff, and me in another time zone down below handing me a pair of pliers or something. And I thought that, I just didn't know whether to get that to
That blew your mind?
Huh?
That blew your mind? It's pretty amazing stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, so, but the rest of it was okay.
I said what was different.
I had,
Go ahead. No.
I usually try to memorize my lines, know my lines for the next week. So I'd spend a week getting a week from then memorized the week before I got to that date. And then there was an accident with the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
The clock tower, yeah.
And suddenly, for a while, every day was an unscheduled day because they had to adjust the schedule. and I was going crazy because I didn't know what was going to be the next day. And the next day was not expected the same schedule. So I just had to sit down and memorize the whole thing so I could go to sleep at night.
Yeah.
So it was all right.
I mean, and you had a pretty busy schedule, and then you're coming back for the sequels.
The sequels were tough. A lot of stuff happened during the first movie. My father passed away. My son was born. I moved to a new house. It was just a lot of stuff going on. I was doing the last season of Family Ties. But that aside, what struck me about doing 2 and 3 and what the attitude was about it, after doing 1 was being such a big success, is they didn't do that 2 and 3 thing. That we were the first to do that. Now they do the Marvel things and they're laid out for 8 movies. The fact that we were going to do 3 was really revolutionary.
Yeah.
And what we were taking into it, now we were coming into doing this movie and throwing all our heart and soul into it and hoping it sticks. We knew this was a franchise. We knew there were big expectations. There were corporate mandates. There was the stuff up at the Black Tower. The first movie we made, nobody bugged us. They're making a time travel movie. Leave them alone. And so then we made 2 and 3 and a lot of expectations. And although they were hugely successful, people still quibble with them because they're not. Everybody loves Once Upon a Time and everybody loves Happily Ever After, but the stuff in the middle is tough to do, and I think we did it well.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say. I wanted to say one thing about these guys. Tom was amazing, and I loved working with him. And you talk about the physicality. The way you played your physicality against my physicality was great because you could crush me. But you made people able to suspend their disbelief and then think that I could hit you, or I could stand up to you, or I would and you were just so always there. The light was always on when I looked in your eyes, and I always felt fear.
You were pretty good yourself.
and Leah, I couldn't have done those scenes. Like I said, I was all scrambled from doing the show and waking up and getting out of bed in my underwear and that scene, of all the scenes we did together, that scene was the scene when I knew this was really magic. It was really something special. We'd done a few scenes before that, and I had seen Leah working, and I knew she was great. But doing that scene with her was when I woke up to what a great opportunity I had to do some good work with some good people. And I just want to say about this guy. He talks about memorizing his lines. The thing that Chris did is that there's a thing in acting, what we call exposition, or carrying the pipe, like laying the pipe. Saying, like in a movie like Back to the Future, there's all these rules. You gotta go here, 88 miles an hour, and somebody's got to tell you all those rules. And then normally when they tell you all those rules, it's really boring. And then they say, remember to be back by midnight, or your head will fall off. And it's boring. But Chris, all Chris's stuff was exposition. He was telling you how it worked and what was going to happen. And we were as wrapped by his performance as we were by the information. He just brought this blinding talent to the problem, and no one's done it that way since, and no one has done it that way before.
I gotta say that Bob Gale wrote those wordy, endless, pseudo-scientific speeches so well that they were so actable. It wasn't just, it was exposition, but it was written in a way that just fit the mode of the character. And I know that a lot of what I got in those speeches was the way Bob Gale wrote them. They wrote them to be done and acted, and they weren't just, I think I've made my point.
Well, you know what they always say about It was really a remarkable experience. It took a lot of energy.
I don't think Chris and I had a conversation as Chris and Mike until part 2. Because you were always so locked in your shit and just doing your thing, and I don't think we ever had a conversation. We liked each other. I mean, you say, how do you like Chris? I love Chris. It's great. I don't know him. I haven't met him yet. But I know Doc. Doc is great. And it's really nice because I say that because we've developed a friendship over the years, and it's really separate and apart from the movies. And I didn't. I was happy just knowing Doc, but knowing Doc and Chris is double duty.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Is there like a particular scene or moment of one another's that if you're flipping through the channel you stop on where you just have to watch the acting from your colleagues? Like any scene that you happen to really like flipping through on the TV?
I always love the scene at the beginning of the movie with she comes in, she gets the smoke, and she slams the cake down, and your Uncle Joey. It's like that thing I love about like Lucille Ball or whoever, like beautiful women, attractive people that will make themselves look unattractive to be funny, and it's really a special thing when someone who is that together and that pretty and charming can become this kind of grizzled, dry, craggly, smoking, cake dropping mom. I mean, that's talent.
Do you remember that day we couldn't stop laughing at Crispin when he'd go, and I had all that makeup on and I was like trying not to laugh because it would crack.
It was cracking.
But he was just like,
He was so amazing.
It was so funny. So funny.
I remember doing a scene with him washing the clothes, hanging the clothes up, and then trying to get him to take you to the dance. And he was just like, he did this thing where he grabbed a broom around the porch, and he wanted to give a big sweep with the broom, like to sweep me off the porch, I guess. And Bob said, "What are you doing with the broom?" Crispin, what are you doing with the broom? And he said, "I'm giving a sweep of indignation." I said, "Not so you have a sweep of indignation." But he would just get these things in his head, and 9 times out of 10 they were brilliant, like brilliant. 1% they were a little crazy, but 9 times out of 10 he would do stuff that the time would come for you to respond, and you've been taken out of the character to just watch him, and he's amazing.
You want me to touch her there?
You mean you want me to touch her on her booty?
And he was at the hair.
Yeah. That's everything. Wow.
Big.
That was good stuff.
But going from Back to the Future, which by the way goes into some pretty dark places, but then you head into Back to the Future 3. Was that? I know, Chris, you've talked before about like being a fan of like Wild West movies, and like you got to have a love interest in Back to the Future Part 3, and was that overall like the most, I guess, fun one to shoot, fun installment?
You love that.
Yeah, I mean, there was horseback riding. That was kind of cool. All the work on that steam engine.
Yeah.
Where we're hanging on the steam engine, we're going about 30 miles an hour, and all the steam engine's got all these parts that move, and if you got a limb in there, it would come off. So you had to pay attention. And then Doc had a romance. Clara, I mean, forget about it. It was good.
There's a beautiful shot of Mary at the train station in that purple dress with the big wide shot, and the train comes. It's just such a gorgeous, classic movie shot. I love watching all of those things. There's a long shot in the beginning of the town picnic, in the third one. these long shots that are just beautiful.
Yeah.
And plenty of riding that that Ben Scott, my stunt double, did. We did all these Texas switch, and Texas switches, he rides like crazy on horseback. It's amazing. Yeah, he's whipping the horse like that. And he kind of gets off the horse and just sort of rocks behind a tree, and I walk out from behind the tree. And it was, wow, Tom, you could really ride. Well, thank you.
But they had us do crazy stuff because they had me. I didn't ridden a lot. I'd just been married. My wife was a big equestrian, but she made me buy a horse, and I bought a horse. But eventually we had an agreement that I wouldn't get on his back and he wouldn't get on mine. But what we were doing Back to the Future, and then Back to the Future 3, there was a scene where the train is going down through this kind of close canyon, and there's a big rock wall here, like where yours is a rock wall, where yours is a train, and I had to take the horse and gallop through the middle of it, between the two. And I was like, is there a stuntman to do this? Like, what? They said, no, we talked about it, we think you can do it. And the look at my face, if I looked panicked on the bed, I had a pants full of poop. I was terrified, I couldn't believe that we were doing it. But there was a lot of stuff like that in the movie where...
Walter Scott was the stunt coordinator.
Yeah.
And the way Bob Zemeckis was shooting it, a lot of the shots, we had to be in the shot. Especially physical stuff that I would do, or you did. And Walter was funny, because Bob would say, Walter, do you think Tom could gallop the horse? Of course he can!
Yeah.
Look at him! Walter, shut up! I don't know if I can or not. But he would just say, oh, sure he can. Now get up there and be careful.
Remember Charlie Crow?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Charlie Crow was my stunt double. He's a great guy. Now he's the stunt coordinator on Animal Kingdom, which is a great show. There's a lot of major stunts, but Charlie was great because he'd do anything. He'd and he'd make me look good. But he'd fall off stuff and get knocked over by stuff. And I'd say, he was the same thing. There'd be like a scene, not in this thing, but let's say there's a surfing movie, and then they'd say, Charlie, can you surf? And he'd say, yeah, I can surf. And he'd learn that night and go back the next day and surf. It's just amazing the confidence these guys have in their physicality.
I mean, they actually dragged Charlie through all those planks,
Yeah.
in the western town.
Yeah.
That wasn't a fake thing. They just had a bunch of wood up. They tied Charlie to the horse and just dragged him. Well, let's see what happens. Rolling. How you doing, Charlie? Oh, fine.
Well, and Tom,
No.
well, you've talked before. You've got you had a bunch of the old school cowboy actors on set as well, including the guy that taught you how to draw.
What a thrill. What a thrill. It was, they said, Tom, you're going to be a gunslinger. It's Buford, Mad Dog Town, and so you're going to have to learn to ride a horse and, quick draw a gun, rope above your head, and all that stuff. And wow, what a thrill to a kid from Philadelphia who had ridden subways in his life. So I learned to ride from Corky Randall, who taught John Ford how to ride, who rode with John Wayne and all those people, and learned roping from Ben Scott, learned quick draw, if I could demonstrate, from Arvo Ojala, who was an old man at the time, but he was Hollywood's historic quick draw expert, the slowest, fastest man I've ever seen. He said, Tom, this is Arvo. He's going to teach. Whoa, Tom. Well, now, see, if you're going to learn how you first hit your thumb on the tree. Do you want to see it again? So it was just, what a thrill at a time, and even now, when big westerns like that weren't being made, where we had cattle on the set and the three guys in the saloon, Dub Taylor, Harry Carey Jr., and Pat Buttram, historic Hollywood cowboys, just amazing. Those guys. Clint Eastwood is the biggest Delta belly in the West. But those guys. So what a thrill! Who doesn't, of the guys out there, want to be the guy who pushes open the saloon doors and everyone just clears out?
Right.
That creaky thing. Ching, ching, ching. He's here. All the tables clear out and everything. Hey, McFly. That was cool. I was cool for I try to tell my kids in a brief window just saying because I practiced hard. And I said, okay, Arvo, like, where do I stack up? And he said, I would say you're in a tie with Kevin Costner in Silverado for being the fastest actors, because both of us, because both of you guys were really trying. You really wanted to be fast. You weren't saying, okay, guy, I'll just do the gun or whatever. Back to your point. If I don't, Michael Caine in a movie, and he's learning fencing, and the fencing instructor's really trying to get his time and everything. He says, I don't have to know how to fence. I have to look like I know how to fence. So it's like you're trying to fake it, but in quick drawing a gun, there's a big shot of just me. Where I had to draw the gun, shoot it, and put it back in the holster. So it had to, I had to actually do it.
Think about calling Costner and getting together and using real bullets?
Yeah.
Instead of this one's a draw?
Right. No. It was a big thrill, and people always ask me, what was your favorite one to play? And, Buford Mad Dog Tannen that was really fun.
Well, before we wrap up, I am curious, there are so many internet theories out there about Back to the Future, including that Marty dies in the tunnel in part 2, that George McFly recognizes that Marty is Calvin Klein and it's his son. There's a lot of them out there. You guys have probably heard of a lot of these theories. You haven't heard these? Okay. Well, then this question is going to just fall flat. Okay, so I will just scratch that. In case, have you heard any of these theories?
I heard I died last weekend.
Those rumors were grossly exaggerated.
Yeah. I was at the beach. They're looking for me in the wrong place.
Chris, has anybody brought up any of these theories to you about what Doc was actually up to, or that he had that Marty died in the tunnel or anything like that?
I may not have been paying attention, but no.
There's a lot of internet lore.
So.
These are on the dark web.
The dark web?
Not on my Instagram.
I know, that's where I'm getting all these questions. I got to scratch a couple of those.
Broke Back to the Future.
What's that?
Broke Back to the Future.
That was great, by the way. And that was in the early days of the internet mashup. Do you remember?
Funny.
What's that?
It was funny.
It was Eli making camp, and then the soundtrack for Brokeback Mountain playing. And it was Broke Back to the Future. It was great. It's raising a lot of questions.
Love story.
Well, but again, before I let you guys go, I know you're going to be here this weekend, but anything that you want to talk about, upcoming projects, anything you want to throw out there? I know you have directed a movie with your daughters, and it is The Year of Spectacular Men, correct?
Yes, I direct a movie called The Year of Spectacular Men. It's on iTunes and Amazon, and you can rent it. And my daughter wrote it, starred in it, and scored it along with her sister Zoe Deutsch and Maddie Deutsch. And I'm super proud of it. And so I've been kind of concentrating more on directing. Thank you. Thank you. We love our kids, right? We love our kids.
We love our kids. You
Yes.
kidding me?
Yeah, and I'll be directing the Goldbergs too. So.
Way to go.
Yes,
Way to go.
have anything going on?
I'm acting right now in DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes!
I am, and I'm, loving my kids. My son was recently drafted by the New York Mets, the world's greatest sports organization. So I'm watching a lot of baseball on the internet, and we're having fun. We're having fun with the kids. So still acting, but you keeping busy?
Yeah. I'm doing a little film coming right up in Georgia about people in an old age home. Yeah. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a play in New York.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a play in New
A
York.
little bit of a play. I'll explain later.
The life of Ezra Pound, correct? Is Pound, correct? On Broadway, yeah.
So cool.
And recently named Philanthropist of the Year by Variety.
I'm working with our foundation, 20 years we've been in existence, we've funded $800 million of research. No. People that work so hard at that foundation and do so much more effort than I do. I just cheerlead. But there are people that know the science and do the work that are brilliant, and I'll pass that on to them. I have 4 kids too, and they're all grown up now. My youngest is 16. So I'm having a great time in my life where I'm getting used to them as adult people. And getting over the fact that my son is taller, more handsome, and smarter than me. And then work-wise, I'm doing a few things. I'm doing an independent movie later this summer, and I've been playing a series of lawyers on TV, it seems.
All bad guys, yeah.
Well, I like the fact that people with disabilities can be assholes too. I mean, it's not always soft piano music when the wheelchair comes in. I mean, that guy might be a jerk.
All right, well, hey, Fan Expo Boston, that brings us to the end of the Back to the Future panel. But the fun's not over because, of course, we're here all weekend, and I want you guys to say hi to these guys. So I want you to make a lot of noise. We're the cast of Back to the Future. Come up!
Hello, and thank you for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video right down below with a thumbs up and make a comment. I do respond to comments. And subscribe to this channel if you're not already a subscriber, and tell your friends and family about Future Finds. And remember, your collection is whatever you make it. So make it a good one, all of you. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.